Dear Logan, I got all new clothes, which is not as exciting as it sounds. Turns out they don't even make extreme weather boots with sequences on them. If you ask me, they're missing out on market. I mean, if you have to be stuck in mud, shouldn't you at least have something pretty to look at? Maddie. Going outside at the time of year meant 4 layers in Maddie's conspirable experience. Wet layer, waterproof coat, boots, dry layer, jeans, flannel shirt. Base layer, thermal top, leggings. Underlayer, underlayer, tank top, control top, pantyhose, because in addition to making sure she had a smooth line under her jeans, they were crazy good at preventing friction to holding in body heat, and in a pinch, Maddie knew she could totally use them to catch fish. She was just starting to button her shirt when there was a knock on her door, an incredibly loud knock. If it weren't for the fact that their cabin had once held up while there were 8 feet of snow on the roof, Maddie might have thought that Logan was getting ready to huff and puff and blow her house down. But he just knocked again. Come in, Maddie said. Can I come in? Logan yelled, even though she was 99% sure he'd heard her. I said, come in, she shouted. Then, slowly, the knob turned. She recognized the top of Logan's dark hair as he went inside. Well, I didn't want to take any chances. It wasn't until he actually crossed the threshold that Maddie realized his hand was back over his eyes. I'm wearing clothes, Logan, Maddie said, because she was absolutely was not going to smile. No way. She wasn't going to think about how adorable and how that he was funny. Funny Logan was shot in the hallway 60 years ago. Adorable Logan was dead, and Maddie would do well to never let herself forget. So she just stood there, watching as too tall, too big, too grown-up Logan took his hand off of his eyes and studied her closely, looking from the top of her still a little wet hair to the tips of her really thick socks. Then he cocked an eyebrow. Are you sure you're dressed? What's that supposed to mean? One of Maddie's fears, one she had never shared with her father or wrote in any of her letters ever voiced out loud, was that she might forget people, how to be with them, how to talk to them, how to read them, and make them laugh. That she might forget all the 1,000 things that people do and don't say during everyday word. That's that's the fear that hit her in that moment. Logan might be talking in a language she never forgotten how to speak, or maybe it was just a language she had never learned at all. I mean, he looked at the green plaid of her flannel shirt. Don't they make that in pink? She finished up the last of her buttons. No, they don't. Then Maddie reached for her favorite waterproof jacket, stepped outside, and started pulling on her boots. Mad Dog, my name is Maddie. She didn't even realize she was shouting until he stepped back, like she'd slapped him. But Maddie was consoled herself with the realization that he absolutely would have never known if she'd slapped him. Or Madeline. That's my name. I just suggest you call it. You use it. Your dad calls you Mad Dog, Logan said, like it was the most foolproof argument in the world. She stepped closer. She'd grown a lot in 6 years, but Logan had grown a lot more. She had to crane her neck to look up at him, but still, somehow she could tell that she made him feel small. I like my dad. So you don't like me? You always were a smart kid, Logan. With that, she jumped off the porch and stormed down to the path towards the water. She saw 2 tents up. A pair of Secret Service agents she didn't recognize practically smirked as she passed. Like they'd been wanting to yell at Rascal for years. Like they were more happy to sit aside and let a teenage girl take a stab to him. They looked like they'd even give her the knife, which wasn't necessary. Maddie always held her own. I've got chores to do, she told them. One of them nodded. We'll be here if you need us. Maddie turned and started through the woods. A few minutes later, she heard heavy footsteps landing on the cold ground. Someone yelling, "Maddie, wait up!" But Maddie didn't wait up. She was through with waiting for letters, for phone calls, for people and friends. Maddie was absolutely through with looking back. Maddie, Logan wasn't breathing hard when he caught up to her, but he acted like he was. He'd thrown on his boots and a jacket, but he wasn't ready for Alaska. No one was ready for Alaska on their second day, ever. Where's the fire? It's back there, Maddie snapped, and it will go out if we don't bring back wood. We don't get wood. There's wood, Logan said. There's never enough wood. Maddie shook her head like he was the one who didn't understand what the words meant. Maddie, I'm sorry. Wait. But Maddie didn't dare wait. There's a storm coming, Logan. That's the rumor, yes. Dad won't be back until dark, if then, and there's work to do. Lots of work. Okay, let's work. She was supposed to make him do it, Maddie knew. And a part of her wanted to make him haul wood and use an axe and climb and claw and dig until his hands bled and his back ached and he would give anything to go back to his big, cushy bed in the most famous house in the world. And another part of her wanted to turn back and freeze him out, freeze him dead. He slapped his hands together, not to warm them, but to show he was ready for everything. Maddie wanted to laugh. He wasn't ready for anything. Just try to keep up. She turned down a path and started walking. She could feel him on her heels, and as she shouted back, "Don't wander by yourself, especially at night. If you need to go out, or tell Dad, or take the pistol. Or on second thought, don't go out at night. No nighttime wanders. Check. And don't eat anything. If you see out here berries and stuff, some are delicious, some will kill you. Poison berries. Check." Maddie could feel Logan pace just behind her. So she stopped, spun. "And whatever you do, don't drink the water. A guide once told Dad that some of the springs still have arsenic in them from the gold rush. I had no idea whether she was joking or not, but let's not risk it today, okay?" "Seriously?" Logan asked. He raised his eyebrows. "Alaska, where even water will kill you. I'm not surprised they don't have that on the t-shirt. I'm surprised they don't have that on a t-shirt." "Logan," Maddie warned. Logan raised his hands in surrender. "Poisonous water. Check." She turned and started walking again, trusting him to follow like a shadow. "And if you see a bear, it's more afraid of me than I am of him," Logan filled in. But Maddie stopped short. "No," she shook her head and looked at him like he might be a moron, which he probably was. It's not afraid of you. It's a bear. So back away slowly and hope it doesn't want to kill you. Because it can without breaking a sweat." Logan studied her face, then nodded slowly. "Killer bears, check. And moose. Moose are meaningless things in Alaska, which is saying something. We don't have a lot of moose around here, but that's good to know for the future." Maddie knew the woods around her. She was aware of every step and rock as they climbed. She knew exactly how the sun would glisten off the lake, and her small cabin would seem when they creased that ridge. Maddie knew this place, but the boy she couldn't help thinking was a stranger. "Maddie?" What? She didn't want to snap, but she couldn't help herself. When she looked up, at Logan, she had to squint against the sun. He was so tall now, so strong. In her memories, he was still the little kid with freckles and hair that curled when it was too long. He was still the boy who could see anything and remember everything, but he'd forgotten all about her, and that made all the difference. "What are you?" he asked. What about you?" he asked. "Are you gonna kill me?" Maddie had to think about that. "Why would I do that when I just have to get out the way and Alaska will do it for me?" She expected him to turn back after that, though he might go lumbering through the trail to a Secret Service detail. And the satellite phone would no doubt had she thought he'd go find whatever gadget regular kids used with that mouth. Or maybe if he was desperate, he would a book or a graphic novel or something. She truly, honestly did not expect him to follow. She certainly never expected him to say, "You're different." Maddie stopped and took her hatchet from its sheath and pulled back her arm and hurled it at a tree 30 feet away. When the blade sunk into the bark with a satisfying thunk, she looked at Logan. "What makes you say that?" He backed away. "No reason. There was a dead tree that was small and made good kindling." Maddie hurried to fill her arms with wood she'd cut a few days before. She couldn't bring herself to face him when she said, "You're different too." "I know. I'm way better looking than I used to be." She could hear the smile in his voice, so cocky but self-deprecating at the same time. It was a special brand of endearing, one you must learn after a lifetime spending in the spotlight, pleasing millions of people. The only person Maddie ever saw was her dad. She couldn't even please herself most of the time. So she scanned Logan from his two big feet and his still messy hair. There was only room for improvement. Maddie's arms were full as she turned, starting back towards the path and cabin, and whatever she could find to make the day a little bit normal. "My best friend left." Logan's voice sliced through her as on the wind, and something inside of Maddie snapped like ice on the lake when summer is coming. It felt like she might fall through. "Don't," she shouted. "Don't what?" Logan asked, all innocent. "Don't act like I left you." "You did leave," Logan shouted, but Maddie couldn't help herself. She stalked towards him, closer to the edge of the cliff. "I came here, Logan. This is my life. Look around. These are my friends. This is my school. This is my life." The words echoed across the lake as if the bore repeating of something, and Logan must have sensed it, because when he said "Mad," his voice broke. But Maddie wasn't the one who was left crumbling. Who was left crumbling, and maybe she would have, except a person can't be weak in Alaska. A girl can't cry here through the woods long in winter, because her tears would freeze on her face, and her skin would and ruin her skin. And Maddie had learned that the hard way ages ago. Did you even get them? Did you ever read them, Logan?" "Read what?" he asked. Maddie didn't know whether to scream or push him down a cliff. It would serve him right, she thought. The secret agents wouldn't even blame her. "I wrote you every week, sometimes more than once a week. I wrote you every week for 2 years. I wrote you hundreds of letters, and every time my dad would fly home, I'd run out to the lake and ask him if you'd written back. I'd lie to myself, making believe that I'd probably get all your letters at once. I was going to stay up all night reading them. I was going to read them all in order. I was going to make a big fancy list of all the questions you'd ask me, and then another list of questions I was going to ask you. I had highlighters, I had stickers. I wrote you every week, and then I realized." "What?" Logan's voice was small, and Alaska was big, but Maddie heard it anyways. It didn't matter that my dad saved your mom that day. It didn't matter that the bullet only grazed you, and it didn't matter. My friend had died that day. He died just the same." "I never got any letters, Maddie." "Nice try, Logan. You might try that on someone who's a lot more gullible than I am now." "No, seriously, I mean it. I never got any letters." "Don't lie to me, Logan. Abandon me, ignore me, fine, but don't ever lie to me." "I never got any letters. Maybe my parents, your mother gave me this stationery. She was the one who told me to write. Maybe the White House thought they were spam or something. They weren't emails, Logan. They were letters." "Yeah, but do you know how much mail the White House gets? People write to the First family all the time. You think I'd known that by now? You don't think that the former head of your father's security detail didn't double-check the address? I don't know, Matt. Don't hate me. Please don't hate me. Something about the pleading, haunted look in his eyes made Maddie stumble back. I don't hate you, Logan. I don't even know you. And that made it so much worse. Mad Dog, he reached for her. He was going to take her hand, maybe soothe her hair. The wind was blowing hard, and she hadn't bothered to pull it back. It was still a little damp from her bath, and it was going to get tangled now. It was mistake number 87. Number 87 for the day. Maddie was starting to realize. She wasn't going to let 88 be believing him. Not ever again. Maddie, wait. Years of rage came boiling out and spilling out. She was a volcano of hurt feelings, and Maddie hated herself for that. But not as much as she hated him. You don't get it, Logan. The best thing about my new life was that I was never going to see you again. The first thing you get good at Alaska is first aid. There's no nurse's office, no urgent care, no ER just down the road and open 24/7. Maddie could wrap up an ankle, treat a burn, and she had never met a splinter she couldn't dig out. But she'd never seen an injury like those words did to Logan. And the truth was that she had no desire to kiss it and make it better. Maddie, look. No, Logan, I don't have to look. I don't have to see. I don't have to. But Maddie's voice trailed off, and anger faded away as she realized Logan was actually pointing behind her, and he was backing away. Terror filled his face, and it took Maddie a moment to register the look, to remember that it was the one she'd seen him wear before, once before. Then she heard the sounds that had no place in a forest. Of a heel over a rock, the skidding of gravel as someone inched too close, and Maddie spun just in time to see the butt of a gun slicing towards her. She actually felt the rush of air just before the sharp pain echoed through her face, reverberating down her spine. She heard yelling, screaming, and then the sky was too big and blew over her. The ground was rushing up too fast below. Maddie, no! Someone yelled, but it must have been a dream because it sounded like Logan. But Logan was not gone. Logan was never coming back to her, ever. She hurtled on the cold ground for a moment, then tried to turn over, maybe get a little sleep, when she heard the voice in her dream again. Maddie, wake up! Maddie, please! She tried to rise. She really wanted to. She wanted to get up. She really did. She didn't want to be lazy and spoiled and too weak to survive on her own. But just then, when she got to her hands under her, just when she was starting to push herself from the cold, hard ground, a sharp pain slammed into her stomach, and it was what Maddie always thought a steel-toed boot might feel like when it connected with a rib. Yes, it was definitely what it felt like. She thought as she closed her eyes and turned over, and over, and over. And when she finally stopped rolling, Maddie didn't fight it anymore. She just let the lights go out.